Operation Moshtarak, involving 15,000 NATO and Afghan troops, has been dogged by controversy since it launched a few weeks ago, and this agenda will reveal another potential scandal. At the moment, the Afghan army, staffed mainly by soldiers from one ethnic background, is being used to drive out thousands of mainly Pashtun Afghans from their homes. Is this ethnic cleansing, a crime against humanity under international law? Find out what our panel of experts think. As civilian casualties mount and innocent Afghan men, women and children pay the blood price for Operation Moshtarak, questions are being asked about the legality of the NATO operation. The Afghan army, British and US troops, have so far driven out tens of thousands of innocent people from their villages in Helmand. The town of Marja was evacuated as part of the massive military assault against the Taliban. But those suffering from the fallout come from the mainly Pashtun population in the region. Moshtarak, a Dari name meaning together, is being carried out by forces largely made up from other minority Afghan ethnic groups, including Tajik, Hazara and Uzbeks, who are being led and supported by a coalition of Western armies. And together, these forces are taking part in what some observers say can only be described as ethnic cleansing against the majority Pashtun population. Today's agenda asks the question: Afghanistan, is Operation Moshtarak a code for ethnic cleansing? Ethnic cleansing is a term defined by the 1993 United Nations Commission as the planned, deliberate removal from a specific territory persons of a particular ethnic group by force or intimidation in order to render that area ethnically homogeneous. The term entered English and international media usage in the early 1990s to describe war events in the former Yugoslavia, particularly Kosovo and Bosnia. Someone who saw firsthand the results of ethnic cleansing is my first guest, retired Colonel Bob Stewart, who was the first British United Nations commander in Bosnia. He has experienced policy making at the highest military levels in NATO and spent 2 years as Chief of Policy at Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers in Europe. The former UN commander has also acted as a witness for both the defence and prosecution in war crimes trials. Next to him is Fahim Wardag, the UK leader of the Afghan Millat Jirga, or the Afghan Social Democratic Party, which is one of the most powerful political parties in Afghanistan. It has strong ties to the Pashtun community. He is already sceptical about the operational success of Moshtarak. Next to him is Professor Patrick McCausland, a professor of law at Birkbeck College, who has worked in Kabul for the UN in 2005 on urban development and with the World Bank in 2007 working on land acquisition. He strongly feels that a deadline for troop withdrawal needs to be set, otherwise the troops are propping up a corrupt Karzai government. But Bob, I want to start with you first, going back to your experience in Bosnia. You encountered ethnic cleansing and its aftermath. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Fundamentally, ethnic cleansing that I saw was the systematic surrounding of villages normally, possibly putting a cordon on, and then either driving the villagers out or killing them. And it was a deliberate act, and at the time I was calling it genocide, really, because I believed it was. And in some cases, there was no chance for the people. They just killed everyone that wasn't of a certain, well, of a certain tribe, if you like, or group. And I'm particularly thinking of Bosnian Muslims.
And when you know the subject of today, do you have any strong feelings one way or another about what is happening on the ground in Afghanistan?
Strong no, but I have a feeling that certainly the intention is not ethnic cleansing in that sense that I've witnessed. The intention is to try and the McChrystal strategy fundamentally is to try and secure areas and rid the area of the Taliban so that the people will be safe. In order to make the people safe, the military forces are doing their best to get the people away while the fighting takes place.
Well,
so
they're driving them out of their homes, and there's no safe haven for them to go to.
Well, here's the problem. If there is no... Part of the plan, Yvonne, should be that if you're going to take people away from their homes, you give them somewhere else to go to and look after them until you can reposition them. If you do that, that's certainly not ethnic cleansing, because you're trying to...
Well, let me bring in Fahim. I mean, my understanding, Fahim, is that there have been no camps set up or provisions made for the thousands of people who've been taken out of these areas.
True, this is one of the problems in the planning, because when they were making the plans, they never listened to the people, they never listened to the political parties, even before, even when Barack Obama was, announcing his strategy. He was talking about mutual respect and justice. Again, down the line came the conference. Again came these operations, Mushtarak. Planning is, just one-way conduit. There is no Afghan contribution in that. There is no Afghan political, tribal, I would say, even on the local level. There's no contribution from Afghans. They have never listened to Afghans.
Where are these people going then, now that they've been driven out of their homes?
I mean, at present, this is a problem, because we should look at the situation, what's going on. The killings are the most, hated behavior by Afghans. Why we are being killed? Why? This is one of the questions to be answered first.
Surely they're trying to avoid the killing. That's what they're trying to do. I mean, isn't that what they're trying to do? Trying to avoid the killing?
I mean, when there is no planning,
yeah, well,
there is a problem. There is a problem in the planning. They didn't consider when the people go out, what did you do for them?
Yeah.
When the killing happens, when the bombing happens, what do you do about them?
Let me bring in,
you can't evacuate them. You can't take them out.
Let me bring in Professor Patrick.
Let me finish with this one. When the planning has got these problems, someone needs to take responsibility for it. It's not us, not Afghans, but the ones who have made the strategy and ratified it in the conference and now implementing it. It's one way. Afghans have been just left out, and we're not being listened to. This is the biggest problem.
Professor Patrick, I mean, we saw images of leaflets being spread over the province and people being told to clear out because this Operation Moshtarak was going to begin. It now transpires that the people had nowhere to go, no camps were set up. Is that not against international law? Is there something... I mean, that can't be right, surely.
In theory, it would be against the general principles of international law that if you're going to move people out of their homes, you're going to turn them into what are known as internal displaced persons, and they have to be found somewhere else to go. But it doesn't surprise me in the least that the Afghan government hasn't provided for this, because they're not competent and capable of doing that. Nor does it surprise me that the Allied military forces haven't done it, because they would say it's the Afghan government's responsibility. But I think it would be extremely counterproductive for the Allied military forces to condone or be seen to be condoning anything remotely ethnic cleansing. So I don't believe that that is happening at all. I think that if people are having to move from their homes, and they are, and they're not being given somewhere else to live, it's purely the result of total inefficiency and incompetence on the part of the authorities rather than anything else.